kind of going back to, again, that process of getting hired here, what were kind of the things that really drew you to Mansfield here?
Uh, to be honest, it was an inkling that's only been magnified since I've been here, and it's the people. The people have been very welcoming, very open, very embracing, and being a veteran in the business of athletics, collegiate athletics, is sometimes organizations they show like, oh, we're a family, and they don't back it up with their actions. And Mansfield showed that they were about family, they're about community, and since I've been here, it's just been backed up, and there's been no issues, and I'm happy to be here.
So yeah, that kind of the whirlwind that first couple of months since you've been here. Let's go back. What was kind of your first impressions when you first had the opportunity to meet the team and to talk to some of them and really kind of get to know them? What was that process like?
That they're green, and that it's going to be a process to get to know them to get to know me. Just because of the being a state school here, the hiring process. I think the offer was out there and the acceptance was out there a little bit earlier than my hire date, but we just had to go through the clearance and things like that. So, but getting to know the team in their greenness, and then starting like what 2-3 weeks in, like that was really like, oh man, this is tough, because there's no organization in that point. We didn't have a initial team meeting and things like that like I will have at other locations. But they have been very great on embracing me, just like everybody else. They've been embracing me, embracing the style, and they have been very welcoming to my coaching philosophy and style.
So obviously, as you mentioned, with the later start than you would have wanted to, what then becomes your focus early in those training sessions with everybody, especially as, I mean, yes, it's that crucial not in season time to really get work on. What were some of those things you focused on early in practices?
The biggest part was it was a self-reflection. It was more so a me thing, right? It was a I don't have any veterans that I could turn to and say, hey, they're not getting this concept, help them along the way. No matter, freshman, junior, senior, everybody, for me, this is their first time learning me. This is their first time being around me, and this is likewise my first time around them. So just being patient with myself, being patient with them, and really taking the time to just reset where we're all at, and build from there.
What has been kind of the biggest adjustment or surprise really in this first couple of months that you've had to do, and maybe with this team or this location, or really just some of the things that maybe you have or haven't had? What was the biggest adjustment you had to make coming here?
Oh man, I don't. It's more a personal thing. It's just right now my family is still back in Michigan, so that's the biggest adjustment on. Going to work and then leaving my work and going back, home, and it's like almost like an empty nest. It's like, oh, where is it, honey? I'm home. And like I feel like sometimes I go in the house and it's, like that Will Smith moment in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I'm just looking around in an empty spot, like, oh, where is everyone? So for me, that's the biggest adjustment. Is being here, being present in a moment, and at the same time. Being as present back at home with my family, so that they know, like, hey, I'm not just off working and you guys are on your own. Like, I'm still here, I'm still husband, I'm still dad. So yeah, I guess that's the biggest adjustment.
So I mean, yeah, absolutely. What are some of the things then you kind of do to find that balance, to find that still be fully in to be the coach, but also be the family man? Where do you find that balance?
Well, I'm still working on it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I am very much, it's still a work in progress. Certain days, just to be honest, on Monday, I was just all over the place. And I'm a strong advocate of therapy. So like on Monday, I just shot my therapist a text message like, hey, we need to address this because I cannot focus. I'm doing all of these things, but I cannot focus. So one of the main things I do is therapy. Another thing I do is I make sure to stay connected. Me and my son, he's 13. He's an 8th grader right now. Our bond is getting, I think, stronger. I'm away and it's stronger. We talk almost every day. He's a 13-year-old boy, so we don't talk for hours, but it's like we might talk 3 or 4 times a day in 2-minute spurts. Like, hey, son, what's going on? Hey, Dad, and we have brief conversations. And me and my wife, we talk pretty much all day throughout the day, off and on, depending on what she got going on and I got going on. And my daughter, she's first time middle schooler, 6th grader, and she's 11 going on 21. So she doesn't really want to have much to do with Dad, but she checks in every once in a while with a text. Hey, Dad, how's it going? And when we talk and things like that. So that's really how I try to find my balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can imagine that especially trying to adjust to everything, that challenge there. Looking back at the team, has there been anyone that has really kind of surprised you out of the first couple months you did that you said, oh, there could be something really special either on the track or kind of behind the scenes stuff?
Not really. I think just collectively they all surprised me, being that we don't have any bad apples. No matter what, through the recruiting process, with individuals that I've brought in the past, to where it's like, man, this person is going to be a great fit for the program, and sometimes it turns out like, they're not as good of a fit. I have to really work on them. Right now, this is a very special group of young men and women that really are about doing the right things. Academically, there's been a couple of conversations I had to have, but they haven't been putting it off. They haven't been running from it. They haven't been shying away from their deficiencies, and we've been working on a plan together to fix that. And athletically, they know that it's going to be a process, a work in progress. And I'm very communicative with how I go about that, and I let them know like, hey, these are our goals, and this is how we're going to get to it, and there's steps along the way, and we're not going to see the fruits of our labor tomorrow. It's going to be a process to get there.
And then, so with this being the first year, what is, as indoor is slowly approaching here, what is kind of your hope for this team to accomplish in this year one for you? Familiarity. Sorry for butchering that word. So just establishing an identity. I was having a conversation with Skylar Brown, who is one of the better athletes on the team, but Skylar is still raw. She's had 3 coaches in 3 years, so she hasn't had any consistency. And good thing, she's like everybody else, she's embracing. She's taking it all in. But just with a lot of that inconsistency, she has a bit of hesitancy, in which I think is, for an athlete of her caliber, is like her confidence isn't where it can be and it will be. And one of the things about any of the best athletes that I ever coached is, we're infectious with our confidence. We're going to be confident in the things that we do. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her blossom, and especially come along and as she get more and more confident. And really all the athletes, as they get more and more confident. I'm from an era of we were taught to kind of fake it till you make it type deal. So I'm trying to teach them, it's like, hey, you don't have to overcompensate, but we can at least show the appearance of confidence. And my coaching style is more so, hey, if we're going to make a mistake, let's make a mistake at 100%, because things happen too fast in our sport. And looking forward, what is the one thing that you're really truly most excited about as the season gets closer?
Just getting getting to know the current student athletes, learning more about Mansfield as a university and as a community, so we can bring in other student athletes. That's really what I'm looking forward to, is to start to having some official visits on campus and unofficial visits on campus, and really, as a coach, I get to realize what the student athletes really think about me when I bring in other recruits and things like that. So it's like, oh, how did it go? And they're like, oh, it went well. And then you follow up with the recruit like, oh yeah, it was just okay. It's like, oh yeah, so there's a disconnect in there. So I'm really trying to see, I'm really excited to see, what the current athletes truly think about me when it comes to recruiting others on campus.
Well, Coach Ruff, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.